so many of us lost touch with that ages ago, depending on your age, right? And so how do we instead nurture it?
Like, just think right now, is there a time, like everybody, is there a time when your intuition or that gut feeling really served you?
Yeah.
Like where it maybe protected you, maybe it gave you, told you which way to go, like it could have served you in the most mundane way. But having that is, I think, so, just having that inner knowing is so important. But I think as parents, of course, a lot of us still believe that consequences are integral to self-discipline and promoting that sense of responsibility in kids and like knowing right from wrong. They think that if there are no consequences, then how will kids learn? But we know that research actually tells us that kids who are punished or even praised for things end up becoming sneakier. They don't share what's going on inside. So what can we do?
It also makes it really hard for them to develop their own internal moral compass. Like I don't know about you, but my own personal morals are different than how I was raised. And so how do we help develop that critical thinking piece around what's right or wrong versus what mom or dad or the teacher, the administrator, or the authority figure at large wants from them? And is the authority always right?
You bring up such an interesting point about morality because, those choices that we make, like, are we trying to, help our kids, or are we trying to just make them believe something that we believe, that we think is right? And not I wish I had a lot of that. I had a lot of like, you will believe this is what's right. You will not think anything different. And granted, I grew up in sort of it wasn't just like a normal family I was a very dysfunctional, like lots of mental illness and abuse. Like there were crazier things going on. So maybe it was in the extreme, but even in, lesser doses, just that imposition of our own thought. And kids don't think this the way that we think either, right?
Right.
But I would love, so does anybody have any, like, I know, Amy, do you have one? I know a time when intuition
Tell me.
Just saved me. I was driving and I was using a friend's car that had gone in for some repairs, and it started, I think it started overheating. Yeah, it started overheating. And just in my head, I just kept hearing, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. And I was like, no, I'm not getting out of the car. I like pulled over and I was contemplating for a minute. Then it just kept going, like, get out. I mean, I say voice, but it was like my own voice saying, get out of the car. So I get out of the car and I start running up the street, and I turn around and the car had burst into, like, it's like the movies, and the roof had burst into flames. And whatever, the engine or whatever it was caught on fire. But it was like, had I not listened in that, I mean, I probably would have been safe, but it would have burst into flames right in front of me, the roof of the car, and I would have been in the car. And it was just like, how many times do we just take a left when, even though we know we're supposed to take a right? And that happened to be a big example, but I don't know if you have times when you didn't trust, or you did trust and it like helped you.
How many of us are really terrified to go, okay, everybody says it's no big deal and I should blow it off, and and then we go, I can't. I have to get out of the car. I have to fire the pediatrician. I have to
not listen to the people who are telling me I should punish, or they need firmer consequences, right? It like can seep into everything. I think it's really important to really trust what our gut is telling us as parents, and not what we think is appropriate punishment or appropriate consequences, or what we think other people expect of us to do. Because our kids, when they go out there, especially our older kids or teenagers, and they're faced with that peer pressure, if they have seen us stand up to, now it doesn't mean that it's comfortable, right, to stand up to people. I'm sure standing up is not fun at all. And standing up to family members, or if you are parenting in a way where you are connecting with your kids and not just, being the authoritarian, it can be hard to connect, like that judgment that other people might have of us, right? We feel that from others, even if it's imagined, it just feels like people are watching. And so that can be really hard. But if our kids see us take their side in those moments, it seeps down. So when they're out and they're faced with, alcohol or drugs or, whatever it may be, risky behaviors that they're not prepared to handle, if they trust like that inner knowing, or if their friends are all going to do something and they feel a nudge that says, I don't think this is a good idea. Now, our teenagers, right, they often will go with their peers. But I think if we teach them not to discount that inner voice, but the way that we teach them to not discount that inner voice is not by telling them, you have to listen to your inner voice when those things, it's not that. It's not teaching them about their inner voice. It's about letting them have freedom of thought, freedom of choice, with limits, of course, right? So it's not about just letting them do whatever they want. But when they do, just what you said early, not making like lessons. So we don't want to make lessons out of their mistakes. That doesn't serve them to say, well, if you can't learn to be responsible, then, or if I can't trust you, then you can't have X, Y, Z. Like that kind of a conversation is what so many, I know I heard that a lot.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, think about it. Like when you first go, okay, what do I think the right thing to do is? We're so used to, if you were raised in a punitive home, your immediate instinct is going and asking people, what do you think? Should I do this? You might get nervous. You might get sweaty hands. You might get tense because we're used to getting in trouble for doing what we want to do versus going, well, this is what I write. Some of the language we use a lot is, there's going to be people who aren't going to like this, whatever I'm doing, but this is what I feel is right. Or, what do you feel like is the right thing to do? If you sit really quietly, or if you go for a walk and you get still, what feels right to you?